Hello and good evening. Welcome to another edition of UIC Jamaica Liberty TV Live. This is Joseph Patterson, president of the UIC. Let's do a mic check and see if you can all hear me. If you can hear me, type yes, please. Can you hear me? Just making sure that our mic is working properly. Greetings, everyone. Hello, Beesman. Hello, Misha. Yes. Can you all hear me clearly? Excellent. Thank you very much. Tonight, I want to talk to you a little bit about the the most recent utterances of the Prime Minister and some key things that we should all understand. And then we're going to take some questions afterwards. I have a video to share with you as well with some facts from India. Now, you all know that earlier today I had my second day in court. This was in Mandeville this time last week, Wednesday or Thursday. We were in Kingston at the Halfway Tree Courthouse, where our lawyers presented the case that we're actually going to challenge the government on the constitutionality of the um, Public Order Act and the DRMA. And so the court gave us leave to file in that regards on the 14th of December. That's next month. We're going to have that filing taking place to begin the process to proceed with the constitutional challenge of the DRMA and the Public Order Act. Today, I attended court in Mandeville. Now, this time it was for similar charges, and that's related to the Walk for Liberty that we did in Mandeville the week before we did the march in Gordon House in Kingston. So for the march in Mandeville, they told us it was okay, and then I was served with a summons in Kingston after I was arrested for the march or the walk in Mandeville. So that's really interesting. In any event, I attended court today, and our lawyers did the same thing that was done in Kingston: make the case for the constitutional challenge of the DRMA and the Public Order Act. And the judge was quite cooperative, seemed to understand the issue very well, and proceeded to agree that the case should go to the Constitutional Court. So that date is set for January 12th. So now we have two dates for the same matter, one for December 14th and the other one for January 12th, 2022. So obviously a lot of legal fees here and a lot of time commitment required on my part, but we're going through with it. Of course, we could take the easy way out and just deal with the charges as they were laid, and fight that out or pay the fines. But we're taking a bigger picture look at this. We're going to fight this in totality in a way that will benefit all Jamaicans. So once we prove that the Public Order Act Section 6 and the Disaster Risk Management Act, DRMA, are unconstitutional, then of course this will throw out all cases, not just for me, but all Jamaicans who have suffered under the tyranny of this government, and it will free up the country, in a very significant way. In any event, as you all know, the Prime Minister is planning by any means necessary to force into the body of 1 million Jamaicans something which the majority of us are opposed to and don't want, because we don't trust the government. And we don't know what it will do to our bodies, as this substance, this biological technology, is an experimental substance and something which most of us in Jamaica are not convinced is necessary to curb this disease. The government blocked the life-saving drug called Ivermectin from being a part of its pandemic response, despite the fact that ivermectin is a proven medication and has again been proven very successfully in India, as you'll see shortly. So the blood of those that could have been saved is on the hands of the Prime Minister and the government. The ivermectin truth cannot be hidden anymore. It is a fact of history. It is now fully documented in one state in India called Uttar Pradesh. That state has a population of some 250 million persons, and ivermectin has been widely available to the public in that state. And as a result of that, the local government in the state of Uttar Pradesh in India has declared itself to be COVID free, with only 5.8% of those, only 5.8% of its population was juked. And they only have 139 active cases. I hope you heard that. The state of Uttar Pradesh in India, with 240 million citizens, used ivermectin to successfully declare its state COVID free, with only 5.8% of its citizens juked with that biotechnology substance. Only 5.8%. And they today only have about 139 active cases. Compare that with Jamaica, which has a population of approximately 3 million citizens, compared to 240 million. We have only 3 million citizens, but we have an active caseload of some 30,000. We have only 3 million, they have 250 million citizens. We have 3 million, they have 240 million citizens. So 240 million citizens and only 139 cases. We have 3 million citizens and we have 30,000 cases, simply because our Prime Minister, our government, and the failed opposition caused Jamaica not to use ivermectin, which is cheap and can be made widely available, and Jamaicans could have been educated on how to care for themselves so that our hospitals would not have been overrun, our death rates and our caseload would have been very low, and the suffering among Jamaicans and all the unpleasantries of the lockdown and all the loss of jobs and loss of business and loss of face-to-face learning would have been practically nothing. But our very unwise, our very evil, our very destructive Prime Minister and government did this to the Jamaican people. This Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, compared to the US, is interesting. The USA has 60% of its population fully joked. And with 60% of their population fully joked, they have 130,000 cases, active cases. And now they're prepared to take a third joke, or booster as they call it. Israel, similarly, where those people in Israel, they're under the strictest of medical apartheid you could ever find. And in their situation, the problem is worse. They have 82% of their population fully joked, and they have 30,000 cases, 30,000 active cases, which is similar to Jamaica. So Jamaica has only Jamaica has 3 million people, and about 13% or 14% or 15% of our population fully or partially juked, and we have a caseload of 30,000. Israel has 82% of its population juked and also has 30,000 active cases. Of course, they have a larger population than Jamaica, but they have 30,000 cases. And the US, which has a large population, has 60% of its population fully juked and 130,000 active cases. And the citizens are being forced to use a juk passport, and on top of that, must now take a third and a fourth booster shot to combat the rapidly rising cases of disease among their highly juked population. All this is making them into juk junkies, like cocaine junkies. So, juk junkies, now you have to go and get a juk every 6 months or so. They have to keep getting so called boosters every 6 months, a booster juk to stay alive. And they have to carry around a juk passport to gain access to society. Otherwise, they are prisoners in their homes, locked out of society, cannot go to the bank, cannot go to the grocery store, cannot go to a restaurant, cannot go to a bar, cannot socialize with family and friends without a juk passport. This is where the Prime Minister of Jamaica wants to take Jamaica. This is the path that he wants to take Jamaica on, to turn Jamaicans into juk junkies, to lock us down, not with curfews, but with a juk passport, so we cannot go about our business freely unless we show this passport to show that we have given up our bodily autonomy and turned over the right to our bodies to the government. This is where Andrew Holness wants to take Jamaica. Even with the facts staring him in the face that we don't need to go down this road, this is the road he has chosen. Our Indian friends have shown that this road is not necessary. Jamaica does not need to go down the road of becoming juk junkies carrying around a juk passport. Jamaica can follow the road of India, the people of Uttar Pradesh, who have demonstrated that with over 240 million persons, they have been able to bring down the COVID rate to only 5.8% of its people being juked and only 139 cases because they used ivermectin and early treatment effectively. I say, give us the India road any day, where they have no medical apartheid passports and have controlled the disease effectively without locking down, locking up, and depriving their citizens of education and face-to-face contact. I would like the Jamaican government and Andrew Holness to tell the Jamaican people why they should follow him down the US and Israel path and become juk junkies with juk passports on synthetic drugs to stay alive for the rest of their lives, as opposed to a safe and effective method that has been proven in India on 240 million people. I don't think we want to become juk junkies like the people of Israel. We don't want to have to spend our monies buying expensive biological technology to be injected in Jamaicans forever, sucking out our economy and leaving us poorer than we already are, while enriching already rich multinational pharmaceutical companies. We need our money to plant organic foods right here in our country. We need our money to invest in medicinal herbs right here in our country. We need money to ensure that our people have quality hospitals, decent roads, a better education system. We do not want to be spending our hard earned money on buying big pharma drugs for the rest of our days on this earth. No, seriously, think about it. Think about it. Do we want to be spending the rest of our lives buying pharmaceutical drugs from big multinational companies, sucking out the lifeblood of our economy? They've done this before. It's not the first time that they're ripping off Jamaica, and it's not the first time that our politicians have sold us out. But let this be the last. I am encouraging all Jamaicans to rise up now and ensure that this be the last time that any government attempts to trick the Jamaican people and sell us into slavery, monetary slavery, economic slavery, to buy big pharma's biotechnology to be inserted into us for eternity, and only God knows what that is going to do to our bodies. So yeah, I'm saying no to this, and I hope you want to say the same as well. In any in any event, where will the money come from every 6 months to pay for these booster shots? We're already in so much debt. Our personal bank accounts are empty. Many Jamaicans are now living on debt. We've become a debt-ridden country. Before, it used to be the government that owes a lot of money to big multilateral and local banks. Now, not only the government, but individual homes, families, husbands, wives, single mothers, even young people in college and fresh out of college are in significant debt. And this short-sighted, just evil government is pushing Jamaica again into a debt-ridden situation out of which we will never be able to emerge. If we go down this road of making our people dependent on a foreign drugs for the rest of their lives, it's the end of the Jamaican economy. It's the end of us as a people, because we're going to be permanently indebted. You might recall for the last 15 years or so, 15, 20 years, we have gone through a serious belt tightening, a serious cut, where more and more of our hard-earned taxes have gone to paying off debt, fixing balance of payments, clearing deficits, paying off IMFs, paying off local banks that were used to trick us and to steal our money and make them very wealthy, and then taxing us to pay it off. We have gone through that already. We have just begun to see a small glimmer of hope after much belt tightening, after we have been forced by our debtors to cut and cut and cut and cut to pay them, while our schools are failing, while our hospitals are failing, while our personal economies are failing, while our young people can't find work, while our various industries are crashing. So we've gone through this. So we cannot afford, again, to take on a new debt obligation through a fake medical crisis that is engineered to suck the lifeblood out of countries like ours, because now we have to pay for life-saving medication for the rest of our lives. Because the moment we take this first and second juke, we're becoming addicts. And we're now going to be addicted to an expensive medication which wasn't even necessary in the first place. We can learn from India. We can learn from the people of Uttar Pradesh and choose ivermectin, which is a 40-year-old drug which is safe and effective and far much safer and far more effective and better known than what they're asking us to take now. It has a much better track record. Of course, there are even other methods that we could have used that are not well known because they have suppressed free speech. So we can't hear from our naturopathic doctors. We can't hear from our herbal medicine doctors. We can't hear from scientists who know other things and want to share with us because they have blocked it, just like they have blocked ivermectin from us. And this prime minister, this government deliberately blocked ivermectin and early treatment solutions from the people of Jamaica to scare us into the path that they've placed us on to become juke junkies for the rest of our lives. My friends, we don't want or need to make rich companies like Pfizer and AstraZeneca any richer. They're rich enough already. We don't need to contribute to their wealth creation. We don't need to contribute to them becoming bigger and stronger. Let other countries do that. We, the Jamaican people, can find, and there is a better way. We know that that is the agenda and the commitment that the Prime Minister has made to the Bill and Melinda Gates GAVI Foundation. We know. I think that's becoming very clear now to all Jamaicans that this Prime Minister and this government has made a commitment to sell out the Jamaican people, and we must stop him. When he spoke at the BBC Commonwealth Youth Forum in the panel with Bill Gates under the title Towards Our Common Future, what was that common future? What is the common future that Bill Gates and our Prime Minister want for all of us? For the entire world to become juke junkies? For every people and every nation on the earth to be dependent on their pharmaceutical drug to suck the living economy out of our people and leave us broke and dependent, unable to live without the next fix from this biological substance being injected into us? You, Mr. Andrew Holness, have deserted the Jamaican people who elected you, the small amount that elected you. It is clear that you are nothing but a puppet and a parrot to your foreign masters, and all you're doing is carrying out their bidding. You're not thinking, you're not reasoning, and you're not defending the Jamaican people. You're not thinking, you're not reasoning in a way that would be effective, and you're not seeking to defend the Jamaican people. You, Mr. Prime Minister, are no longer fit to hold office and should resign. You and your entire government, including the opposition, should by the end of this month publicly withdraw your plans to juke 1 million Jamaicans by force. You have less than 15% support of the Jamaican people, and you want to juke the entire nation, including the vast majority, the 70% who have rejected this juke. That is democracy, Mr. Prime Minister, that you claim you would uphold. The majority says no, and no, Mr. Prime Minister, means no. You understand what that means? It's like in a situation of rape. If the person says no, no means no. Don't rape us with this juke that you're pushing so much. Listen to the Jamaican people. Accept our position. Resign and leave us alone because we don't want the juke. It seems, Mr. Prime Minister, that you're drunk on power to the point of madness. And we, the Jamaican people, will put a stop to it. We're not going to sit down and take this. We're not going to continue to allow you to put masks on us, causing our oxygen levels to be lowered, preparing us to get sick, with your mask mandates, with your isolation and social isolation of our students and our children in school. You're destroying our people. You're destroying our children. You're destroying our communities. You're destroying our societies. And if you look closely, the more you do this, the higher the crime. You're not doing your job, Mr. Prime Minister. You should be focused on keeping us safe from criminals, not being a glorified salesman for pharmaceutical companies. You should be protecting our children to make sure that they're in school and they're learning and socializing and building good skills and competences, not languishing at home with poor internet connection, parents who have to be hustling and can't pay attention to them, and causing many to be physically, verbally, and sexually abused because of your bad government policies. It's time, Mr. Prime Minister, for you to grow up and wake up and stop destroying your own people for whatever it is that they have promised you or whatever promises you have made. Or could it be, Mr. Prime Minister, that you have some skeleton in your closet and they're prepared to expose them unless you carry out their demonic objectives? It's time, Mr. Prime Minister, for you to stop hurting the people of Jamaica. My friends, I want to share with you now a video which will confirm much of what I've just said. I'm going to show you some statistics. I'm going to show you some reporting. I'm going to show you that the people of India, particularly that state of Uttar Pradesh, they have found the answer, which we knew about a long time ago, but they have now proven it, that there's a better way. And it's time for Jamaica to access this better way and to turn our backs on the path that the Prime Minister wants to take us on, which is to make us juke junkies. So let's have a look now on this particular film, which will give you some indication. Take a listen.
For treating animals as well has been
Okay, let me see if I can fix that.
Has no known drug interactions, has no Nobel Prize for its success treating condemns the use of ivermectin. The most populated state in India just declared they are officially COVID-free after promoting widespread use of the safe, proven medicine. Here's One America's Pearson Sharp. Ivermectin is getting a pretty bad rap here in the United States, all over the Western world, really. And to be fair, that's probably for a good reason. I mean, it was developed while the mainstream media condemns the use of ivermectin, the most populated state in India just declared they are officially COVID-free after promoting widespread use of the safe, proven medicine. Here's One America's Pearson Sharp. Ivermectin is getting a pretty bad rap here in the United States, all over the Western world, really. And to be fair, that's probably for a good reason. I mean, it was developed in the 80s specifically for humans and was later found to be effective for treating animals as well, has been used safely for decades, has no known drug interactions, revolutionized healthcare in Africa and saved millions of lives, won a Nobel Prize for its success treating humans in 2015, and is on the WHO's list of the safest, most effective medicines in the entire world. But sure, just repeat the leftist talking point, it's horse dewormer. The problem, as we've discussed, is that ivermectin is cheap and widely available, and it won't make Pfizer or Moderna $60 billion a year like selling the investigational vaccine will. But is there any evidence that it actually works to treat the coronavirus? Actually, yes, quite a lot in fact. In India, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, which has a population of 240 million people, the government has been widely promoting the use of ivermectin to treat Wuhan virus patients. And instead of headlines reporting thousands and millions of deaths from deadly horse medicine, state leaders have just declared that Uttar Pradesh is now officially COVID free. A region with nearly as many people as the entire United States is totally COVID free. And the recovery rate in India, which no one in America seems to be talking about either, is 98.7%. So let's compare for a moment, because we might be able to make an important discovery here for public health. In India's state of Uttar Pradesh, just 5.8% of the population are fully vaccinated. In the United States, nearly 60% of Americans are fully vaccinated. In India's state, the rate of COVID positivity is 0.01%. In the United States, it's 7.6%. In India, they have 199 active COVID cases. In the US, we have nearly 130,000 new cases as of September 30th, and an average of more than 112,000 cases in just the last 7 days. And in India, they're widely promoting the use of ivermectin to treat the China virus. In the United States, doctors will lose their medical license if they prescribe ivermectin, and our top so-called medical professionals dismiss the drug as nothing more than dewormer for barnyard animals. Do you see a connection here? And it's worth pointing out that Uttar Pradesh is India's most highly populated state, where people are densely packed together, much more so than here in the US, and it's impossible to practice proper social COVID distancing. So what does all this tell us? That maybe, just maybe, there's something to the claims that ivermectin can and does work against the coronavirus. But no, instead, you have the high prophet of pharma, the good doctor, Anthony Fauci, condemning it, and even major news outlets running fake stories about how 70% of Mississippi's poison control calls are for people taking ivermectin. That story turned out to be totally false. Never happened. And the AP had to find a way to take their massive, jackbooted foot out of their mealy mouths and retract the story. Rather than saving lives, the political, medical, and media establishment are promoting false stories about a safe drug, claiming it will kill you, and instead promoting an untested, unproven drug that actually is killing young, healthy people with no underlying conditions, like 13-year-old Jacob Clinic of Michigan, who died 3 days after receiving the vaccine from fatal heart inflammation, or paralyzing others, like 12-year-old Maddie Desgaret, who almost died after receiving her second dose of the Pfizer vaccine and can no longer move her legs and is bound to a wheelchair. Or Jume Nachi, an otherwise healthy woman who had no symptoms before getting vaccinated and who somehow came down with COVID immediately after getting the Pfizer vaccine and had to have both her legs and hands amputated. Why should we trust our health officials when they won't follow the science? Americans are being lied to. We're being told not to believe the facts that we can see with our own eyes, while Big Pharma makes tens of billions of dollars profiting on the death and suffering of this pandemic. The simple truth is that our nation could open up today, like in India, without any need for more lockdowns, without the need for mandatory injections, without mask mandates for our children in school. All we have to do is follow the science. For One American News, I'm Pearson Sharp. Want to see more videos?
So all we have to do is follow the science. And Andrew Holness and his government is not following the science. They are following the money. They are following the dictates of their foreign masters. They are simply puppets and parrots of the global elites that are seeking to control the entire world. And they're trying to do this through this so-called pandemic, and they're also trying to do this through the so-called climate change. They're going to use these things to scare and shock people, lie to people, deceive people, trick people with statistics, and fabricating and manufacturing deaths and problems, instigating health issues, lying, misrepresenting, and trying their best to get the entire world to be so afraid, so scared, that we just put up our hands and say, "Handcuff me, chain me, and make me your slave, just save my life." And that's what they're doing. They're turning all of us into slaves all over again by fear mongering, by trickery, by bribes. And they want you to be so afraid of losing your job, so afraid of going hungry, so afraid of your children not going to school, that you give up your freedom, give up your rights, and become eternal slaves, and place not only yourself in bondage, but your children and your grandchildren and great grandchildren. My friends, there's only one way out of this, and it's to fight like hell to secure our liberty. Do not be afraid of death. Do not be afraid of going to the hospital. Do not be afraid of not being able to go to school. Do not be afraid of losing your job. Be afraid of losing your freedom. If you have freedom, all these other things are secured. But if you lose your freedom, a job doesn't matter. Being able to go to a bar or a club or the restaurant or a supermarket doesn't matter. Because when you're a slave, you've lost everything, even your bodily autonomy, the right to put whatever you want into your body or to reject whatever you don't want from going into your body. You cannot afford to allow this prime minister, this reckless and irresponsible opposition leader, 63 irresponsible members of parliament to condemn 3 million Jamaicans to a life of slavery because we failed to stand up for our rights and our freedom. So having said all of that, we have a few minutes now for questions. I'll take your questions and comments, and hope and pray that you will do more than just hope and pray, but rise up and stand up for liberty. Make sure you don't shop anywhere where they don't have a sign in their door that says all are welcome, and that they're against medical apartheid and in favor of my body, my choice. Don't shop anywhere which does not support your liberty. So that means we have to take our money out of NCB. We have to stop supporting banks, restaurants, grocery stores, anywhere that does not support liberty. Anywhere that is in support of medical apartheid, let's not give them our monies anymore. This is why the UIC is fully behind the All Are Welcome campaign. We're only going to support stores, businesses, firms, banks that says all are welcome. Any company which is pressuring or firing people because of their juke status, any company which is requiring you to be juked to get service from them, we're going to boycott those companies. We're going to ban their belly. We're going to take our money and our business. We're going to shut them down. We have to shut down anyone that wants to harm us, anyone that wants to take away our freedom. We must shut them down. Very important. Let us not allow them to control us. We are bigger than them. It's only 63 members of parliament, 63 human beings. They're no better or bigger than me and you. They have control of our government right now, and they're using our police against us. And I'm sure they'll even use our army against us. But we are 3 million strong. We must stand up against them, man, woman, and child. We must stand against tyranny. We must be willing to fight and even die to secure our freedom. We must not allow the hard work, the painful 400 years of slavery that we endured and fight against and managed to eke out a little bit of freedom. A little bit of freedom we have eked out over the last 100 years or so, 150 or 200 years ago. We have been able to get a little bit of freedom, and they want to snatch it away from us. They want to trick us into giving up our freedom by wearing masks every day, hurting our own health, destroying ourselves, surrendering to their policies of taking our kids out of face-to-face school and destroying our children, destroying our relationships, destroying our businesses, My friends, we must fight back now. But let me take your questions. What do we have here? Who do we have? How can donations be given? You can give donations on our website, uicjamaica.com. Just go on the donation tab and you'll be able to see where you can actually donate to the organization. We really appreciate your donations because we do not take funding from big corporations who want to control the narrative or change our objectives. We are a liberty focused political movement, and we're never going to swerve from that. Our position is always going to be to protect your right to choose, no matter what they say. So when you see them talking out there and trying to discredit us and trying to attach all kind of label to us, don't be dismayed by the labels. We are here to protect your right to your life, your liberty, and your property. Question, Mr. Patterson, thank you for your consistency. Thank you for supporting me. Really appreciate it. Somebody said we just donated again. Thank you so much for that. Nuff says, I must say, I love the all are welcome idea. Thank you. Yes, we're very happy for that as well. We want to push the all are welcome because that is key. This is our economic power. We can use our economic power to get our freedom back. I don't know if you remember what happened with the Rosa Parks situation when she sat in the front of the bus and wouldn't get up. When they wanted black people to sit at the back of the bus, and she said, "No, me now get up." And that sparked the bus riots and the bus boycott, rather. And so black people stopped using their bus, the white man buses. They stopped using the buses. How did they get around? Did you know that that event created the first Uber system? Are you surprised? The black people then created the first Uber system where they Ubered each other to work and to grocery shopping and to whatever they had to do. They stopped taking the buses, the white man buses, and instead created their own transportation system, which was perfect. It was very good. And this showed their economic power. And guess what? The white man had to come back to them and beg them to come back on their bus and say, okay, 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 you can now sit anywhere you want in the bus because of the economic power of the black people who decided that they were no longer going to ride on the white man's bus to get to work. So they created their own Uber service. And whoever had taxis or cars and stuff or bike start helping each other. And this is how they were able to stop segregation on buses. But they made one big mistake, one solid mistake, massive mistake. And the black man has been making that mistake over and over and over again. The mistake they made was to go back on the bus. You see, my people, we must never fight for equality. We must never fight for acceptance. We must fight for freedom. And when you fight for freedom, you have a much stronger position. When they decided to go back on the bus, they relinquished their black power, they relinquished their economic power, and gave their money back to the white man again and built his bus service. Yes, they got to be able to sit beside the white man and sit in any seat on the bus that they wanted to, but gave up the power to own their own Uber company, their own infrastructure that would have made them a much wealthier people. That's what Marcus Garvey tried to teach us. That's what Malcolm X tried to teach us. And we allowed them to kill our leaders, and then we followed misleaders. We followed those who said we must want to sit in their restaurants, must want to sit in their sleep in their hotels, must want to go to their schools. So instead of us securing the liberty and the power of liberty to create and own our own schools, to create and own our own restaurants, to create and own our own hotels. We fought to sleep in their hotels, to eat in their restaurants, and to go and learn in their schools. When you go and learn in their schools, what do you learn? You learn that white is beautiful and black is corruption. You learn that we're not so smart and they're very smart. We learned that we didn't have much civilization and they have great civilization. We learn that we don't know a thing about science and technology, and they know everything about science and technology. We learn that we can't build our own political system. They have the best political system. We learn that we can't build our own economic system. They have the best economic system. And so we become fools and dummies and dependent. And then they control us. Give us a political system that divided us so that they can distract us and extract our wealth from us. Yes, that's what partisan politics is. Partisan politics is used by the rich and powerful to divide the ignorant masses, distract them with political games. When you have the PNP calling the GLP corrupt and the GLP calling the PNP corrupt, and this one identify this problem and this one identify that problem, and they keep taking turns in the chair to extract your wealth while keeping the majority of you poor. That's why Andrew is so rich. That's why PJ Patterson is so rich. You understand? They all come into politics, and while they're in politics, they become super wealthy. And then they pass off into the sunset, enjoying a wonderful retirement package and leaving all the rest of us nice and poor, waiting for the next leader to come along. Oh, I am for Lisa Anna. Oh, I am for Damian Crawford. Oh, I am for one PNP. Oh, I am for this. Foolishness. You're not for none of that. What you are for is for a system of governance that must work to protect your rights. Your right to your life, your liberty, and your property in a safe, clean, and orderly environment so that you can earn and live and retire in dignity. That's what you want. That's what I want. That's what we all must want. And if we fight for that, we're better off. Don't fight for the man. The fight for no, oh, I am behind Andrew, or I am behind Christopher Tufton, or I am behind Peter Phillips, or I am behind Bunting, or foolishness. You must be behind a system of governance that is going to give you good government, so that when you wake up in the morning, you wake up to a safe environment, a clean environment, an orderly environment, so that you wake up to an economy that allows you and your children and grandchildren to be able to live, earn, and retire with dignity. You want a system of checks and balances that protects you from politicians, that protects you from government, and have government do its right responsibility of truly protecting your rights to your life, to your liberty, and your property so that you can prosper. Your problem is not a politician. Your problem is a fake political system that continues to fail you. So don't make the mistake they made with Rosa Parks. Don't stop your fight when the white man give you an inch, or when the colonial masters give you a little bit of reprieve. You see, Andrew the other day, when him see the heat a build up, him just pull back a little, and cut out the foolishness of the lockdown from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and half day on Friday and all kind of stuff. And pull back a little bit to make you just deflate a little. So you deflate a little bit and say, while him just plan the next move. Or I'm going to just bring in the passport, the juke passport, and how I'm going to just work behind the scene with the employers and one by one pick us off by saying, when say, okay, you can't go to work unless you take it. Okay, you don't want to take it? Spend $23,000 to get a PCR test. A fake test, by the way. Get it? A fake test. The test is fake. Okay, it's a fake test. So you're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. The test fake, and the solution that they're offering is a fake solution. It's not a normal vaccine like what they talk about. This juke is something else altogether, right? It's not like what we take as children. So it's different. And we could have been taking early treatment with ivermectin, which is very cheap, very affordable, very sustainable, and we could all be going about life without masks, without excessive social distancing. And of course, it's always a good idea to wash your hands. I mean, we all know that. So we could all encourage each other to be clean, to be clean. If you're sick, have symptoms, stay home. And here's an early treatment package. You take this and monitor your condition. And if there's a problem, we have the doctors ready to properly take care of you. But instead, we have allowed ourselves to be tricked and fooled, and to mash up our lives, mash up our economy, mash up our families, mash up our school and our students, The depression rate is high. Look how much young people now mad. Look over across the road. Pure, a whole heap of young people mad as hell because of this. When I say mad, I mean insane. Mental disease caused by the government of Jamaica. The government is the enemy of the people. They have been creating depression, not just today, not just during this pandemic thingy. Prior to that, they have been making Jamaicans depressed. Young people leaving school having no hope. Right now, if a young person is thinking of starting a family and buying a house, it's like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? You can't buy a house today, right? They make everything expensive and difficult and hard. To start a family, it's a painful, torturous experience to have just two children and try to make ends meet. You go to school, you pay, you borrow how much money and finish and have this big debt, and you come out and you can't find a job because the government has destroyed every sector. They destroy coffee, they destroy banana, they destroy sugar, and they're destroying our environment with mining, which extract our raw material and leave us nothing but a destroyed environmental nightmare. Okay, so yes, some questions, please. Rowan, I just get you, but that is why I said we will survive. Okay. What do we have here now? It's the worst thing for young persons not to have any hope. Correct. It is killing them. It is killing our young people. Somebody says, how can we sign a petition? My friend, the time for petition is over. I know we have these things and we try, it makes us feel a bit better and so on. But who are going to petition? How can you petition an evil person who is designed, who is committed to an evil design? What are you petitioning them to say? Please, your good Lord, help us out and throw us a bone. Andrew doesn't care. Andrew don't care about your petition. All Andrew care about is to implement his foreign master's plan and get him little benefit and finish build up him big house and leave you all, get his retirement. Because when Andrew don't need to win the next election. Okay? If you give him, he'll take it. If you're dumb enough to give him, he'll take it. I can tell you this: if Andrew wins the next election, I give up. Because I would not believe Jamaicans would be so foolish as to elect him again. And if the people elect the PNP again, I'm done. Because it makes no sense at all for any sane Jamaican, no matter how young you are, you must can see that it makes no sense for us to continue to elect the JLP or the PNP. There's no point at all in doing that. It's completely insane, right? So, but Andrew knows if whether or not he wins the next election, he's okay. All he has to do is to finish implementing the plan given to him by his foreign masters, and he will get his good payout. Okay, and he gets his payout, and then if he retires now, he has a prime minister salary for the rest of his life, thanks to PJ Patterson and the crooked PNP, supported by the crooked GLP. They have a system where the former prime minister gets the same pension. The pension that he gets is the same amount as a sitting prime minister. How evil can you get? Huh? How evil can you be to put such a system in place? That's what PJ Patterson put in place. That's what the PNP have kept in place all this time when they have been in office. And that's what the JLP has not taken out when they promised from Bruce Golding that they would get rid of it, and they kept it because they're all there to milk the Jamaican people. They don't care. If you look at our country, just look at our country. Look around the country. Just look at the land. Look at the way we keep the country. Look at the roads, the sidewalks. Look at the communities. I live here in Northeast St. Elizabeth, which was always a PNP stronghold until recently they voted for a PNP who became a JLP, right? And they've been here. Like the government, the two of parties have been here. And you look at this St. Elizabeth, okay? Look at it. It is still rural. People still don't have water in some cases going to their homes. There's still standpipes being used. A lot of people live in dilapidated houses. Roads are very bad in many areas. Yes, they fixed a few here and there for the election campaigns and so on, but it's still bad. The schools are bad. We don't have a proper park here, right? Right across the entire constituency, we don't have a proper public park. We don't have proper libraries. We don't have proper community centers. We don't have a thriving agricultural industry or processing industry. We don't have technology parks. We don't have anything that we should have in the 21st century. Right here in St. Elizabeth, where we have voted over and over for these two parties, and proudly so for many people. My friends, this have to stop. We need to stop this. I'm serious. We need to stop. Don't let them fool you again. Okay? They're going to come after me with everything they have. Right now they're dragging me, through the courts and stuff, and they throw me in jail. They want to crush me because I am the only thing standing between them and complete dominion over you. I'm the only thing right now standing between them destroying this country. Now you see the opposition beginning to say, oh, we're against mandatory vaccine somewhat, right? Why? Because the UIC is now gaining popularity because we're speaking to the interest of the people. We're talking about what the people want to hear about. They want to know that there's a political movement here in Jamaica that will stand up for them. And now that we're standing up for them, uh, Mark Golden is getting a little edgy now, and is they're now trying to put some items up on the table. They want to talk now about face-to-face learning. They want to talk about corruption. They want to talk now about well, we shouldn't mandate it, but foolishness. They are there to deceive and trick. Don't let them trick you again. Don't let the PNP trick you again. They have had 18 and a half years in office, and all the things they're going to promise you now, they could have done then. They've had super majorities. They could have gotten rid of the Queen a long time ago. They could have stopped paying the Governor General $250 million dollars a long time ago. They could have fixed crime a long time ago. They could have fixed the education system a long time ago. They could have regularized people and given them their land titles a long time ago. So nothing what the PNP tell you need to listen to. Nothing at all. Zilch. They have no credibility whatsoever. So do not be fooled again by the PNP. No matter who they elect as their leader, it could be a fashion model or a super dread. Do not be deceived ever, ever again by the PNP. They are going to make you beautiful promises, free electricity, free water, wonderful everything, but it's all going to be for naught. It's going to be a lie. And after one or two terms, you're going to have to vote them out. And then who are you going to have left to vote for? The GLP again, the scammers. Because all they do is go into office and find super ways to scam us, the GLP. They will scam you in any given direction. Any little opening you give the GLP, they're going to scam you. Any little opening. Whether it's scamming you through phone bills or scamming you through education, corruption, or scamming you through Petrojam, or scamming you through NIDS, or scamming you through the Juke, they are going to find every opportunity to scam you. So you can't trust the GLP and you cannot trust the PNP. And they have proven this over 77 years. We don't need no more experience or data with these two parties. They have proven to us what they're capable of doing, and what they're capable of doing is destroying this country brick by brick, inch by inch, dollar by dollar, and they will not stop. They will not stop until Jamaica becomes 100% again a colony of somebody. Whether it's China is the new master, or is Europe, or is America or England, it does not matter. These two parties will not stop until Jamaicans are 100% slaves again. They're going to make sure that we become tenants in our own country. All the best things will be owned by somebody other than us. The hotels by the Spanish, the streets by the Chinese, the buildings by Europeans, the highways by Chinese, whatever it is, the minerals by some other company, the Italians owning the rum industry, right? They're going to make sure that Jamaica is not owned by Jamaicans. So the longer we keep them in there, is the more detrimental it is going to be to the indigenous Jamaican people. So it's time for us to get up. All those Rastas we're talking about, they don't care about politics, they're making a big mistake. It's politics that determines whether or not you have a good country or a bad country. So you better get involved in politics. For you to say you're not interested in politics is for you to say you're not interested in your well-being. For you to say, me nah vote, is for you to say, me no care what somebody else do to my life. Now, of course, it's not enough to vote. Voting is not enough. To just simply vote is not enough. You must be actively engaged in the politics of your country. You must educate yourself. You must inform yourself. And you must be careful to engage in building a political movement that will stand up for liberty and justice. The UIC will not get any money from those who want to destroy you. The UIC will not get any money from the big rich companies because they are getting what they want out of the other two parties. So they're going to continue to fund them. So you had better do like me and others who are doing the same thing and give to this movement every single solitary month and help us to make sure we have 63 good candidates in all constituencies and 228 good candidates in all municipal division, and help us to have 14 Senate candidates ready and waiting for the new government, because the UIC has to form the next government. And we're not going to do it because we have millions and millions of money to bribe you and trick you and buy you. We won't do it that way because we can't do it that way, nor do I want to do it that way. I don't want to win an election where we bought your votes, where we tricked you. We must win an election where you wanted what we have to offer and you went out and voted for it and you carried along your friends, your family, your co-workers and say, yes, we need to vote for change and real change this time. You're not going to see me on TVJ and CVM every night or almost any night. You're not going to see me all over the Gleaner and the Observer or in most of the radio stations because they don't want me in their program. They don't want you to hear somebody who is talking about fixing the problem. They want you to hear gimmicks and games and distractions. They want to talk about playthings between the two parties and, whatever is going on, little things. They don't want you to understand the real problems and the real solutions. So we have better built our own medium. That's why we have UIC Liberty TV. And we have to subscribe to UIC Liberty TV on YouTube. And we have to share it with our families and friends and say, come, let's get together and learn what we can do to rescue Jamaica. Let's come and ask the UIC president our toughest questions. Let's get answers. Let's become a part of the solution. Let's get involved and join a committee in the UIC, one of the policy committees, and get involved in discussing. We're such an open party. We welcome everybody. Every member can be a part of one of the policy committees. They can get into the details and discuss the issues and see how they can help to understand, help to shape, and help to communicate the message to their fellow Jamaicans. Right now, any one of you can get up and form a UIC group in your community. You just get up and find 12 people, and that is your group. And then you send it in to us and say, here's my group. Give your group a name. One group, for example, in Clarendon, they call themselves UIC Help, HELP. It stands for Hayes Empowerment and Liberty Patriots. Yeah? So they created their own group, UIC Help. Hayes, because I guess the community is called Hayes. So Hayes Empowerment and Liberty Patriots. And then those husband and wife couple started it, and they got their 12 other people, and they send in their stuff to us and say, here we are, we're creating our group. And they organize their meetings with their agenda, what they're going to do, so that every member of the group, so they have 12 members, and every member of the group is going to go out there and find 10 voters to win over to the UIC and bring those 10 persons in. So when that group of 12 brings in 10 person each, that becomes what? 132 persons in that division that's going to vote UIC. And if you have that in every division across the country, every division, a group of 12 finding 10 persons each, and they go from division to division to division. So here in Northeast St. Elizabeth, just to break it down for you, in my constituency of Northeast St. Elizabeth, we have 4 divisions: Balaclava, Shiloh, and Braze River, Santa Cruz. 4. And in those 4 divisions, you have communities. And in those communities, you have what we call PDs, polling divisions. We have 110 polling divisions. So each of those polling divisions will have a little team of 12 persons. And those 12 persons each will go out and find 10 voters. And so each of those divisions will have 132 voters. You do the math. So here in my constituency, when the election time comes, we will have over 13,000 votes right here. Not because we spent millions and millions of dollars. Not because we won't have it. We won't have that kind of money to spend. We won't be bribing anybody. We won't be tricking anybody. We won't be having any big campaign where we're jumping up and down and creating all kind of excitement to bring people to vote. We're simply going to educate people. We're going to educate Jamaicans at the grassroots level, right? The group of 12 meet with their members that they bring in, and they talk about what is it that the UIC is going to do, how we're going to transform education, how we're going to transform healthcare, how we're going to transform the system of governance so that we have proper checks and balances between the Senate being independent and elected, from the House being independent and elected at the grassroots level and not by partisan appointment, and how we're going to have a truly separate executive branch of government and the checks and balance between them, together with the judiciary, ensuring transparency, objectivity, inclusivity in the process to protect the interest of Jamaicans. So finally, corruption can be eradicated as much as is humanly possible from the system of government. And with corruption eradicated as a major cancer in our system, we now have millions and millions of dollars to invest in education, in healthcare, in making every Jamaican family a property owner in this country, while revitalizing our organic uh, agriculture, so that we stop using, so that we stop using we stop using all the pesticides and herbicides that are killing us with cancer, and we return Jamaica to a truly organic country. We're going to make Jamaica the organic capital of the world. You're going to see massive agricultural enterprise employing thousands and thousands of Jamaicans, not in back-breaking agriculture work, so to speak, but in careful planning and design. So we do vertical farming, horizontal farming, hydroponics farming, greenhouse farming, and permaculture farming, all organically, so that we can bring back the nutritional value into the food and make our minds and bodies rich again, and produce engineers and scientists and inventors and innovators of the highest order. A new Jamaica, Jamaica where we have pride again, pride in who we are, pride in our competences, pride in our ability, where we can learn again, be masters of mathematics, calculus, algebra, engineering, design, and not just musicians. That's good, that's wonderful. But we need engineers. We can't just have everybody want to sing. And we can't just depend on tourism, which is important, by the way, because our plan for tourism is going to mean making the entire Jamaica a tourism destination, not just Ocho Rios or Negril or a piece of Montego Bay or a piece of Portland. The whole Jamaica. No more inclusive resort. Yes, we'll have those, but it's not going to be the only main. The whole Jamaica must become a tourist resort. And when I say a tourist resort, don't get me wrong, because what I mean is the country must become a country that all of us as Jamaican can be proud of and enjoy as Jamaicans. Then, of course, we welcome people from outside. And those people from outside will now be able to come and enjoy the full Jamaica, a community tourism product in our backyards, yeah, in our communities, because it's going to be safe, it's going to be clean, it's going to be attractive. It's not going to be a dirty Jamaica and some little small places that are made nice and beautiful for tourists to come and they lock off and enjoy. We want the whole Jamaica to be enjoyed by all Jamaicans. So Marilyn says the logo should be Jamaica for Jamaicans. Absolutely. Yes. What would you do if we're to be sanctioned by the Americans if we win or an embargo? One of the things with being sanctioned by America or any embargo is, first of all, we're not here to pick a fight with the Americans or anybody else. So unlike previous regimes, whether the Manley regime or the Castro regime, where they have these harsh rhetoric to say about the Americans or all kind of stuff. We don't want any fight with anybody. We just want a free Jamaica. So we're not fighting on any ideological lines, like the Cold War kind of ideological things. We're going to approach this from a Singapore approach. Let's negotiate. Let's be diplomatic. Let's have good relations, good trading relations. But we, the Jamaican people, will determine our future. We will determine our internal affairs. And our internal affairs are exactly what America said they should be. America believes in freedom, at least on paper. Their constitution speaks to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, whatever that means, and that all men are created equal. We're just going to show that in a much better way. We're going to be what America wanted to be. So America wanted to be a free country. We're going to be a free country. America wanted to have the Statue of Liberty. We're going to be the Statue of Liberty. America wants to be the land of the brave and the home of the free. We are going to be the land of the brave and the home of the free, because we're going to practice the reality of that. We're going to have a true constitution that reflects that. We call it a non-partisan constitutional republic, which is going to be true to its meaning. We're going to be a true republic. We're going to be constitutional, and we're going to get rid of the colonial system of partisan politics. No more partisan politics. We're going to fund candidates directly, uh, publicly funded, no more private money in politics. And all you have to do is to qualify academically, experientially, and technically, get your nomination in order, and then you're on the ballot. You'll get equal access to radio, television, and internet, equal access to town halls and debates, and then the people will look at what you're offering and they'll be able to vote. No major expenses, no major fanfare, equal access. The poorest of us will be able to get on the ballot. The richest of us will have no advantage getting on the ballot. All will be treated equally, and we will vote for who we want. Okay? So no more partisan politics. Individual candidates fully backed by a public system. So they're no longer controlled by party, and they're not controlled by big money. They are simply controlled by the people of their constituency. That will be the new Jamaica, right? What about somebody says the world is in slavery? God give us the earth. Now we have to buy land. Okay. Everyone in this life, please pledge to tell 10 persons yes, to come out on the 22nd to walk. Somebody said to Gordon House. I don't think there's a walk to Gordon House on the 22nd. But what I do know is that there are a number of groups that are planning to do a march or a gathering or a walk on the 22nd of October. I encourage all of you who are so inclined to participate. The UIC itself will not be organizing any march or walk or gathering on the 22nd, but we fully support all Jamaicans to rise up and walk, march, gather to protest for your freedom. The UIC will be focused right now on the All or Welcome campaign. That's going to be our focus right now because we want to focus on the economic impact of all of us coming together and not supporting businesses, banks, or investment firms that are practicing medical apartheid. So our focus is on the All Are Welcome campaign, and we encourage and welcome and endorse all groups, all groups and individuals who will get up and go out on the 22nd to stand up for and defend their right to freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and freedom of choice. Okay? But we're not going to organize it. We're going to leave it up to you and all the other groups. And there are many groups out there who are trying to do this right now. And we encourage you to go as long as it's peaceful. It must be peaceful. We encourage you, we implore you to make sure that your walks, your marches, your protests, your gatherings are peaceful. Do not allow them to ever say that you do things like, destroy private property, attack anyone. You saw our peaceful walk or march to Gordon House on the 22nd of September, how peaceful we were. The police was the aggressor. What a sad thing, eh? Those who were supposed to be enforcing the law actually broke the law. They pepper sprayed, they pushed, they shoved, they dragged, they arrested people without telling them why they're being arrested, and manhandled us and really mistreated us and threw us into jail while criminals were killing police officers and killing children and killing women and destroying property. The government chose to send a vast army of police to go after innocent, peaceful protesters. What a shame. If I were prime minister, I'd be so ashamed. I'd have to resign. That is such a shameful thing to see. But anyways, question or comments here. Jamaicans should be able to choose who becomes the police commissioner, DPP, and so on. What about security for you and your members? Thank you, Derek. You can write us privately on that, and if you want to help us, we have a fund. To if you donate to the UIC, we're able to purchase security. As you know, that's a very expensive thing. So we do buy security, and we welcome all of your help to make sure that we have security for myself and the rest of the team. Somebody says, we can do it. We can make Jamaica proud. Yes, we can wake up. Uh, this should have been an outrage. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm surprised actually, Insta. I'm surprised at how calm and peaceful, so to speak, the Jamaican people are while the government is being so aggressive and mean. But we continue to educate and advocate for Jamaicans to stand up for their own rights. So I'm doing my part. I am trying my best to provide representation and to provide encouragement. But I wish more of us would stand up, eh? Um, Tiger Brown said, you skipped mine, sir. What did I skip? Tell me again, please. I'll be happy to go back to it. JJ says that's why Conjure select Chang to be national security so that they can pull their stunts like arrest you. Yeah, man, I saw it go. That kind of stuff to deal with. One walk and you give up already, said somebody. You're not going to be it, sir. You're asking us to go if we want. Why am I thinking you're backing down from putting on others walk? No, the walk on the 22nd was previously planned by another group, and we're more than willing to support the other group. But what is important for us when we're planning these walks, you see, they have to be planned and they have to be organized. And I have not been able to participate in the planning and the organization in the way that I would like. And so it's best that we allow all the groups, because there are many groups, out there that want to do this. So we think it's best to just leave all the groups to do what they want to do in terms of walking and or marching or gathering. I'm not sure what different groups will be doing on the 22nd, but let's commemorate. Let's use the 22nd as a way of commemorating the anniversary of the September 22nd uh, March. I believe the best approach we can take right now is to focus on the economic impact of having everyone shift their economic power, from these companies that are practicing medical apartheid. Everybody can participate in that. You don't have to travel to Kingston or travel to this location. You can, wherever you're living right now, participate in stopping by not supporting companies, banks, investment firms that are against your rights. So any company which says some people are not welcome here if they're not juked, then you say, I will not spend my money with that company. Yeah. Somebody says, I live in the States. If I was there, I would be out with you guys. Thank you. How will ordinary Jamaicans contribute to the new constitution when you form the next government? Good question, Tiger Brown. The the ordinary Jamaicans will be a part of the 1 year long road tour that we will do. So when we're elected, that first year will be a lot of town hall meetings to share with Jamaicans proposed sections of the Constitution and have their input. It will be posted on our website fully for feedback from all Jamaicans. Copies will be printed and distributed to the communities for community groups to discuss and to give their feedback. We'll have a committee that receives all of this. We will then put everything to a referendum. So within our first year of office, within 12 months, we'll have a referendum on the new constitution, which will make Jamaica a non-partisan constitutional republic and will forever transform the country into one with the most optimal system of checks and balances ever, and one which uh, permanently and fully protects the individual sovereignty of every Jamaican. Never again will Jamaica have a leader such as Andrew Holness being able to do what he's doing. It will not happen again. We're going to make sure that it's impossible for a leader to do that and get away with it for more than a day. One day of attempt and it's over. We're going to do that. What are the names of the companies who are supporting this wrongdoing? There are many companies now. One of them is NCB, another one is CVM, for example. Another one is Isratech. So these another one is Stewart's Hardware, in Clarendon there. So we have to boycott all of these companies. Every company which is boycotting Jamaicans, we need to boycott those companies. We need to shut them down. Actually, we need to make sure that they can't survive by taking away our monies from them and put our monies in companies that support us. Yeah. Another person says it's impossible. No more jail, pure PNP. I couldn't agree with you more. Very, very, very much so. What are your plans to kill the plans the skilled person in Jamaica much of? Oh, for skill, well, Brent, what are plans for the skilled people in Jamaica is to make them have work. And the way to do that is to remove all the red tape and bureaucracy, which is preventing small and medium enterprises from competing with big business. So we're going to tear down all of those roadblocks, all of those barriers to entry. We're going to tear them down and create thousands of opportunities for skilled workers, for innovators, for entrepreneurs to be able to step up and compete effectively with those who have been given a free ride for so long. Um, Another one says here, that's a great idea, not supporting those companies. How many alternatives would be available? Then we would need substitute or suggestions. No, don't worry, man. Just stop supporting them. They're, we have to be creative, We have to be creative and decide how we're going to survive, right? we don't have to, we don't have to buy from companies we don't want to buy from. Yeah. For example, one of the things I have done to even manage my own budget and economy here at home is to eat more from the market and eat less processed items. So go back to the yam and banana, and the plantain, and buy the locally produced stuff and really shift. I go to the corner store. It's not going to be a perfect boycott in that sense, but you go to the corner store and go to the shop. If you live down a Blake Road, for example, or Beeston Street area, just go around Bill's retail and wholesale, right at the corner there. So near to what do you call it again? Kingston Technical High School. Go to those little corner shop, those places which welcome everybody, and buy from them instead. No matter with the big superstores that are harassing our people and oppressing people and forcing them to take the joke. Just leave them out of the equation and go to those others and deal with them. Yeah. Somebody says we need to produce more goods and services to build our economy. Absolutely. Now, we have a challenge, in doing that because the government does things to make it hard for Jamaicans to get through, right? So we have to just work with what we have now, the best of our ability, and work together, and then take action to get rid of these two parties out of our government, and let's start to free up our country so that the real Jamaicans here can start enjoying the freedom they need to produce and earn and share, right? Can you explain what that 70 years transparent that the government is fighting in court that wouldn't be exposed? Please, really, you need to say it. I think what you're talking about is the Andrew Holness's attempt to make it to make it to cover up the minutes of the cabinet for 70 years from the people of Jamaica. Yeah, we're going to do away with all of that. We're going to make sure that cabinet minutes are revealed by the end of each administration. So after, if you when you've left office, then all of those minutes must be revealed, except for any section that would comprise compromise our national security from an international standpoint, and that must not be determined by cabinet but by the judiciary. So it must be placed before the judiciary, and they then look at the information and decide whether it is of a nature that would be damaging to our international place or security or national security from an international perspective, and deal with it from there, right? It says Bashka is giving discounts to the vaccinated. Again, that's apartheid, favoritism, bribery, and we should boycott them. So you just send in any company you know about. You just go on our WhatsApp and send a WhatsApp messaging to show us some facts about this at 293-0812. Just let us know. Do you have candidates for all constituency? No. Right now we have about 100 and so candidates that are being vetted. So we will have 63 for the MP categories, and we're working hard to have 228 for the parish categories. Well, my friends, we have come to the end of another evening. I only plan to spend 1 hour with you, and I've spent 1 hour and 30 minutes. So hopefully, when I go back to the other side of the house, I'm still married. But thank you all for spending some time with me tonight. Really appreciate it. Hope this was useful for you. Please continue to support us. Share these videos, like these videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Facebook groups and page and Twitter account and Instagram. Tell all your friends. Spread this in a far. Like, remember, big media have nothing to do with us except to lie or to misrepresent. Whenever they do a story, it's to try to misrepresent us, in one way or the other, so that they can turn off voters. So you need to connect people to this channel so they can get the real news, they can get the real deal. Yeah. Somebody says, "Do you hope to be prime minister?" I don't even want to be a politician. I am here because I know that somebody has to stand up, and nobody was standing up, so I stood up and I'm leading the charge, and I want more and more of you to join me in leading the charge. Let us win the government, not for the sake of anybody being prime minister or anybody being president. That must not be the motivation. The motivation must be, let's get in there to return power to the Jamaican people, change Jamaica, transform Jamaica, so that all of us can have a very decent life and live with dignity and liberty in our own country. We don't want to have to continue to run away to other countries to find hope and opportunities. Eh? Let us build Jamaica now. Thanks again. See you soon, and all the best. Have a good night until we talk again. God bless you. Good night.